Now, let's begin by telling you that the federal government has initiated a 15-day emergency fuel supply program in a bid to alleviate the hardship faced by Nigerians amidst the widespread fuel scarcity. Under his initiative, vessels importing petroleum motor spirit or premium motor spirits will continue to dock at ports across the country, offloading much-needed fuel into various depots where they will be swiftly distributed to fueling stations nationwide. The Major Energies Markets Association of Nigeria had, in a statement issued earlier on Tuesday, reported a significant influx of fuel into key locations such as Apapa, thanks to the arrival of multiple vessels carrying over 300 million litres of PMS. However, officials remain optimistic that these measures will soon lead to a more stable fuel supply chain, offering relief to millions of Nigerians grappling with the consequences of the crises. In the meantime, motorists in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, have complained about the availability of fuel to black market sellers despite being scarce in the open market and causing untold hardship for citizens. Our correspondent Joshua Imarai visited some petrol stations in the capital to appraise the current situation. Here's his report from the ground.
Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. The fuel scarcity has left motorists waiting in long queues for the product. Despite efforts to address the issue, fuel queues remain a stark reality, and in the midst of this crisis, black market operators are capitalizing on the desperation of motorists.
You know, sometimes when there's fuel scarcity like that, it's usually a difficult period and a trying period for almost everyone, whether drivers or even passengers or just everyone. It makes the whole place kind of stressful like that.
You can see some motor. Some golf motor, they buy fuel more than 200 liters inside their vehicle. So some are putting double tank inside the motor. The other day I did for one golf, more than 200 and something thousand. I wonder, say, golf what I use, where no reach 70 liters.
Why would you get fuel from this one and then resell to save citizens like you at a higher price? I feel like that's a crime, I don't know, but I feel like maybe there should be a task force to be checking and regulating these things.
As fuel scarcity persists, a clear pattern emerges. Black market sellers have plenty of fuel to sell, despite long queues at fuel stations across the country. This raises a question about why some people have access to fuel, while others wait in line.
Kamar area 1 ko kuma zone 3 haka, akwai gidan mai a wando suna bamu. Akwai kuma NNPC amma ba wannan ba, ƙaramin NNPC kenan, su ma suna ba mu, amma nan ba sa bayarwa. Muna shiga da mota ne. In muka shiga da mota, sukan cika mana tankin motar mu. Tukunnan in su kuma suka fito, za su biya roja a ciki. Mu ma kuma in suka fito, mu ma za su ƙara mana akan abin da suka siyo. Mu ba su riba sai su ba mu. Muna ba su kaman 85. Wani sa'in ma in yi wahala sosai na zuwa 9,000, 9,500. Mu kuma muna siyarwa 10,000 ko kuma 10,500.
Despite lengthy queues, Nigerians remain hopeful that the persistent challenge of fuel scarcity will soon be alleviated and normalcy will be restored back to the streets. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
Now, meanwhile, Nigeria's House of Representatives has called on citizens to remain calm and not resolve to panic buying of petrol as the challenges responsible for the long queues being witnessed in many petrol stations across the country have been resolved. The chairman of the House Committee on Petroleum Resources, Midstream and Downstream, gave the assurance while briefing newsmen in the nation's capital, Abuja, saying that its investigation to provide a solution to the situation confirms there is currently adequate supply of the product. Idong Joseph reports.
The press briefing was called by some members of the House of Representatives.
On behalf of the House of Representatives,
the chairman of the House Committee on Petroleum Resources, Midstream and Downstream, says that the House engaged with relevant stakeholders and that the issues responsible for the scarcity of petrol are currently being resolved.
We have in the last few days reached out to stakeholders in the petroleum distribution value chain, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NNDPRA, the Petroleum Product Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria, Petron, and the Transport Workers Union, to mention but a few. We have engaged extensively with them with a view to ascertaining the cause of the resurgence of fuel queues in petrol stations across the country.
While expressing concerns, the committee frowned at the activities of middlemen taking advantage of the situation and assured Nigerians that the logistical challenges have been resolved.
The challenges that caused the destruction was the logistic issue, and that has been handled with the maritime shuttle vessels as we speak.
The lawmakers also urged the Nigerians not to engage in panic buying.
As a country, we have a storage of over 1.5 billion liters, which can be last for at least over 30 days. More products are arriving, and more products are on the high sea.
Obviously, it will take a few more days for things to return back to normalcy. Therefore, we call on Nigerians not to panic over these developments. We have, like we said before, gotten assurances from the regulators and the unions that these challenges will be cleared in a few days. It will require more time, like 2 or 3 days, for product to be distributed to all stations nationwide.
It is almost a week now since the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited claimed that the issues causing the queues have been resolved. But yet, the queues are still there. And with the House of Representatives giving the same assurance, all that Nigerians will be hoping is that in a few days, they can walk freely into petrol stations and buy products without stress. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idonku Joseph.
The president of the Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress have urged the federal governments to also enthrone service-reflective tariff and stoppage of segregation of customers. Joajero and Festus Osifo made this known on Wednesday while presenting a joint address at the May Day celebration in Abuja. In the 18-item demands presented by the Labour leaders, they said electricity privatization exercise in the country should be reviewed with the view of a reversal. They added that they want the governments to immediately roll out the CNG buses nationwide as agreed. To discuss this, I'm joined by legal practitioner
to reverse the last increase in electricity tariffs within the next 1 week. Public service needs to review the contributory pension scheme. Your Excellencies and comrades, there is need to review the contributory pension scheme, which was disrupted by the enactment of the 2004 Pension Reform Act. There are complaints ranging from delay or no transmission of contributory money to Pension Fund Administration, PFA, inabilities to assess the initial 25% of total contributions by retirees as stipulated by law, etc. Of most concerns is the fact that the monthly pension of those who retired under defined benefit scheme earn at least 50% monthly pension more than those who retire under the contributory pension scheme.
All workers must rise from our celebration today more determined than ever before. Build a trade union movement that will continue to work within the philosophies of traditions that propelled it into existence. The minimum wage struggle. The minimum wage struggle serves as a urgent reminder of the resistance faced by workers and the obstacles deliberately placed by government. It underscores the pressing need for unity across all levels of engagement to advance our shared objectives. We are already working together in every facet of the national minimum wage fixing process to ensure that better results are achieved, which will not only speak to the welfare of Nigerian workers, but would also assist in driving business activities around the nation.
Now, to discuss this, I'm joined by legal practitioner and public affairs analyst Tunji Abdul Hamid. Tunji, good morning. Good to have you here.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
All right. So we've listened to Festus Osifo and also Joajero, but I want to ask you now, how does the current level of electricity generation capacity and reliability compare to the promised service level? I'm talking about the 20-hour daily, which was promised to Band A customers.
I think we have to tell ourselves the truth. the schools they've not shown the capacity, that they have the capacity to deliver the 20 hours they promise Nigerians in terms of Band A. For me, I don't even think we need any classification regarding Band A. All Nigerians requires electricity. They need electricity supply. It's an essential commodity which must be given to every Nigerian. So if you are classifying anybody as Band A, and therefore those are the people that you can guarantee 20 hours light, you are discriminating even against those people called Band A and the entire Nigeria as a whole. So what the government should be doing, what the disco should be doing, is to ensure that, look, they supply electricity to all Nigerians. They make available electricity in Nigeria. But as this, they've not done enough. We are still doing the same thing the same way, and we're expecting a different result. We have not shown the capacity that we can store this generator and store this electricity and even distribute. So those are areas we need to raise concern about. No, we have not done much regarding improvement in facility of this discourse. What we are concerned about more is about generation of money. In fact, as far as the minister, since the minister came into office, he has only been talking about increase in tariff. He has not even done anything to say, look, put the disco under pressure and say, look, improve on your facilities, improve on this and that, so that we'll be able to have enough confidence that this facility will be able to take whatever that is coming into them. But that's not the case as it is today. What we are seeing is that the government is concerned about tariff increment, which I consider as insensitive at this time of the day, because Nigerians are going through a lot of hardship today. And if anybody is increasing any tariff these days, it's increasing the hardship on the Nigerian society, and which is unfair on us.
So I hear what you're saying about Nigerians and the hardship that they're going through. You also use the word there regarding discrimination, whether Band A, Band B. But what are the potential impacts on businesses now? Is there any particular, perhaps maybe impacts that they have regarding small businesses and also medium businesses, medium enterprises?
Yeah, that's one of the major impacts of that classification as well. Where the government is concerned about those who can pay, that in quotes, those that are classified as Band A, they consider them as having the capacity to pay. Those that classify as Band E, they are classified as Band D because they see them as not having the ability to pay. And if you look at it critically, these people who classify as Band D, majority of them are those who have these small-scale businesses that we're talking about. So if you don't have electricity has a lot to do in terms of economy in any part of the world. Without electricity, so many things will not happen. You see some of the people you see ride the Okada today or ride the Marua or whatever they are riding. Some of them, they have their vocational businesses. They have their barbers in them, they are tailor, they need this electricity. Because they don't have this electricity, they have to look for another alternative. So the small-scale businesses are suffering because of lack of this electricity. And the government is not even concerned about that. The government is only concerned about the people who are seen as worthy and who can pay for the supply of electricity. So in other words, the government is concerned about generation of money rather than availability of electricity. And that in that regard, our economy will suffer more because small-scale industry will not have the required supply to do their businesses. And in that regard, it will reduce the impact that they will have positively on our economy. So it has a lot of impact on our economy because people will not be able to do their businesses as required by them or as demanded by as desired by them.
There's plenty of demands from the NLC, but then the question is, how exactly does the NLC propose to achieve this service-reflective tariff that ties electricity prices to the quality of service that's being received by the masses?
Let me first of all say that, look, in Nigeria, generally, we take everything from the government. This increment in tariff is not in line with the law. The process of increasing tariff has not been followed at all. Section 116 of Section 2AE of the Electricity Act of 2023 require that, look, for you to increase a tariff, for any disco to increase tariff, they must make a request give a notice to the NEC. NEC will thereafter do a gazette, a notice in the gazette, a federal gazette. And after that notice is done, there will be a public hearing. And that is at the end of that public hearing is when they now determine whether or not this increment will happen or it not happen. But that's not the case in this circumstance. So firstly, let's just put it straight that this tariff increment is not the due processes were not followed, and therefore is contrary to the provision of the law, and it's not stand. And I've seen so many people threatening to go to court. The NBA have done that, have threatened to go to court. An SCN I think is already in court. The Labour are also threatening to go to court. I think we need to challenge this hike in tariff. It is not even necessary at this time of the day that we are in this country. This country today, there is a lot of hardship. So for me, the Labour can pursue it by ensuring that, look, they take a legal route of going to court, or they can even do a protest in that regard, or even when it is done too, and then they call people to go on strike for that.
Well, thank you very much, Tunji Abdulhamid. Good to have you here on the show. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Now, beyond the May Day speeches, the march past, and also the agitations that usually marks the Workers' Day celebration, many workers in Abuja were caught on camera taking time to unwind outside the popular Eagle Square. News Central Television captures these moments on camera.
It was not the scene many Nigerians are accustomed to on a typical May Day. There was a lot of buzz, music, with businessmen and women out to take full advantage of the situation outside the Eagle Square. Beyond the May Day speeches, the march past, outside here is like a carnival-like atmosphere. At different sessions, we have seen workers dancing, happy to celebrate the May 1st Workers' Day. Come with me, let's capture these moments.
I'm so happy. I think the salary should be better for us because of the fuel, because of the money, foodstuff stuff, and other things, school fees and house rent is getting on higher and higher. Today is the day that we need to enjoy ourselves. Apart from other workers there, we need to stay in our office, and since today is not our office there, we need to flex ourselves. They say jack without blame make a jack a dull boy.
Every year, first day of May is Workers' Day. That's the day we come out to celebrate. I guess we will come to rejoice, and to be merry, and to be happy. You can see what's happening here. After today, you will not see us again here. That is why we are here.
Number one, we are happy because we are alive today. And number two, we are happy because this always normally things I normally do every year. It's not because of anything, because many people that are happy last year, that see last year, they cannot see today.
All around there was plenty to eat and drink, as many workers tried to get the best of the moment. I also took time to get workers' views on the recent salary increase.
Once the money is paid, we'll be able to know what actually, if the money that is paid is it's enough, or it's okay, or he has elevated our plight a bit.
We have been cut out. What we are expecting is not what we saw. We hope we see to see 150, 200, also 25. My brother, we have been let down by our labor union.
My opinion on 25 salary is that since we don't receive it, we don't see it, but let us wait until when we receive it, and when we see it, we know what to do.
For all of these workers, many of them public servants, after today, work mode will definitely be switched on. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
Now, as the conversation concerning the construction of the Lagos-Calaba Coastal Road continues, the Federal Minister of Works, David Umahi, has held a second meeting with stakeholders. At this meeting, it was stated that some stakeholders had started receiving compensation of their demolished structures, while others still expressed concern about what would become theirs. Our correspondent Bernard Akede, who has been following the story, files this report from the meeting.
Gathering of stakeholders directly or indirectly affected by the ongoing demolition from the creation of the Lagos-Calaba Coastal Highway. This is not the first such stakeholder meetings. However, at this one, there were certain differences. The Federal Minister of Works, David Umahi, accompanied by other government officials, signed the highway route at this meeting. He also assured stakeholders that the road will be in the best interest of Nigerians, after which he commenced the compensation process for some.
I signed the route technically today, the first day of May 2024, and I assure Nigerians that this route is for the best interest of Nigeria, and it will have along the corridor a lot of land for tourism we are talking about. I bless Mr. President, I bless our country, and it's my pleasure to unveil the new design route to the glory of God. I wish to flag off the compensation from Challenge 0 to Challenge 3 in a total sum of 2.75 billion.
Besides the businesses that will be affected by the construction, some community dwellers from Okwaja raised major concerns about the coastal highway cutting through their community. They requested that the minister redirect the highway to the former plan. But their claims were quickly countered by others from the same community who claimed the road was going through the right path.
The problem we have there, we have an original alignment inside our CFO when Bola Ahmed, when they were governor of Lagos State, give to the community. The alignment is there. We are now surprised how the commissioner now be taking the coastal road, diverting into the middle of the community. Then if the coastal road passes the community, it will wipe all the community away. Then he's claiming that 250 meters is from ocean, is government, it's federal government property. But the sea already have chopped more than 600 meters.
I want to show him how grateful we are that he has listened to our complaint and that a realignment has been done to an initial road, a wider road that for ages has been known as the coastal road. But there are some grievances that happen here today with the indigenes of the community, which they are claiming that they should take it back to the last alignment, which is going to affect majority of landlords there. And these same people are the ones that sold this land to us.
There were also those who were thankful, after much consideration, that the coastal road would eventually bypass their facilities and there will be no demolition.
It was last month that we had this type of meeting that I was here, and I said the only thing is that they should not define in pay. And when they said checks are ready today, I was very happy, very, very. I don't know what they paid them, but at least compensation have started. And they said they are not going to stop until when everybody have received their own. I think that is commendable.
As the demolition of structures and compensation of affected persons have now commenced, the conversations have changed. All eyes will now be on the coastal highway, hoping the result will eventually be worth it. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
A consortium of international development partners have called for an end to violence in Nigeria's Niger Delta region and the restoration of peace through a community-led approach. This was during the presentation of the report of the baseline study carried out in the 3 states of Rivers, Delta and Bayelsa across 63 communities in the states. Amadine Uyi reports.
The killing of 17 security personnel in Okwama, Delta State, located in Nigeria's Niger Delta region, has continued to shock citizens across the country. This brings to fore issues of violence and insecurity in the region, and the need to bring an end to the circle, which is having its toll on livelihoods, affecting women and children, and stalling development of the oil-rich region. One international non-governmental organization, the Search for Common Ground in collaboration with international development partners, unveiled its report on a baseline study on community-centered approach to transforming criminality and violence in the region.
In many cases, Nigeria has a number of challenging conflict areas, and the Niger Delta has always been one where focus really needed to be paid to really understand the complexities of the conflict issues on the ground.
Since its commemoration on November 8, 2023, this project has permeated 66 communities across 33 local government areas of Rivers, Bayelsa, and Delta. The baseline study delved into the intricate web of social, political, environmental, and economic dynamics underlying violence and criminality in these 3 states.
By directly confronting criminality and violence in the Niger Delta, the project specifically focused on empowering vulnerable groups, such as the at-risk youth, unemployed graduates, orphans, and single mothers.
Members of this consortium say they are hopeful that the findings will bring an end to violence in the area.
The findings of the baseline study offer a poignant narrative of the realities faced by our communities. They underscore the profound impact of socioeconomic challenges, such as unemployment and economic hardship, in perpetuating circles of violence and marginalization.
As we talk about the community approach to issues of criminality and violence in the Niger Delta, and we look at the baselines of resolving these issues, the causes and the ramifications involved, it's important to note that one critical factor remains, and that it remains unacceptable that the symbolic goods that lays the golden earth is being neglected administration after administration in the Nigerian state, and that until the Niger Delta people are given fair share of the resources that God has blessed them, there will hardly be peace in the Niger Delta.
They say they are hopeful that this report will catalyze the return of peace in the region, accompanied by development. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
Our stakeholders in Nigeria have called for swift reforms of Nigeria's local government system to help address the needs of citizens at the grassroots. This was during the launch of the Open Governance Initiative in Abuja, where they called for local governments to be given full autonomy. News Central's Joshua Marai completes this report.
Key stakeholders at the local government level have reignited calls for local government reforms, citing the need to address the shortcomings that have long plagued this critical tier of government. They argue that despite its crucial role, the local government system has been hindered by persistent shortcomings, which must be rectified to enable this vital tier of government to fulfill its potential and meet the needs of local communities.
Yet, despite its pivotal role, the local government has often been plagued by inefficiencies, lack of financial autonomy, and a disconnect between government and the governed.
Many believe the local government system is the key to taking governance to the Nigerians at the local level. Some here add that this emphasizes the need to evaluate their performance and assess the impact of state government policies on their actions and operations.
The Ministry of Special Duties and Governmental Affairs really need to come up and assist us so much. The supervisory role must be evident. Without that, we may not be going far. For us to have political accountability, people must determine who lead them. There must be transparent and credible election at local government level. That is why Niger is leading the agitation. That there is need to review the Electoral Act to ensure INEC conduct local government election.
Stakeholders also emphasize the importance of establishing collaborative platforms to harmonize government efforts and enhance local government development.
I therefore use this forum to solicit for more collaborative initiatives such as this that will consolidate government efforts in driving this developmental process to maximum impact on the citizenry. I am optimistic that at the end of this event, the stakeholders would come up with strategies that can provide solutions to some administrative bottlenecks at the local government level, as well as lessen the overbearing burden on the federal government.
They called for full autonomy of local governments, saying this frees them from centralized control and enables them to deliver quality services to citizens at the grassroots. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
Now, malnutrition in childhood and pregnancy has many adverse consequences for child survival and long-term well-being. It also has far-reaching consequences for human capital, economic productivity, and natural development. Nutritionists say these consequences of malnutrition should be a significant concern for policymakers in Nigeria, which has the highest number of children under 5 years with chronic malnutrition in sub-Saharan Africa. This is according to the Demographic, Health and National Population Commission. Dr. Collins Akano, chairman of the Nutrition Society of Nigeria, Lagos State Chapter, while speaking at the inaugural Nutrition Summit in Lagos, said an estimated 2 million children in Nigeria suffer from severe acute malnutrition, but only 2 out of every 10 children affected is currently reached with treatment.
Malnutrition is a very serious problem, public health concern in Nigeria. From the statistics we have, we have about 37% of Nigerian children who are malnourished. And there's something we call the triple burden of malnutrition, which is undernutrition, overnutrition, and the hidden hunger.
Nutrition plays a very vital role in the productivity of the economy. So starting from families at the local level and also at the national level in terms of productivity. Why did I say that? For let's start from children. Children that are breastfed, that are fed with healthier, locally homemade food, they tend to meet up their developmental milestones even better. Now, when a child or an adult or a teenager is fed better, they are able to perform better, they are able to improve on their cognitive skills, and that way they are able to earn more.
Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, is ranked among the countries at the bottom of the global ranking in reading culture. The World Culture Score Index and the National Commission for Mass Literacy say 38% of Nigerians cannot read. Stakeholders in the education sector said that development in the country is directly proportional to the literacy level. At a World Book and Copyright Day remembrance gathering, they lamented the reading habit of Nigerians is deteriorating fast. Faoud Atanda Lawal, the chairman of Ikoyi Obalende LCDA, said the absence of a widespread culture of reading in Nigeria is a barrier to development and international competitiveness. He said that Lagos State is working with young Nigerian writers to stimulate the reading of books, newspapers, and magazines.
It's very important for you to read. You know, when you read, you learn to understand things and you learn to learn more. And that's what we've seen today. And we just have to support our children, support people, support parents. Even for the parents that can't afford to do the basics for their children, you know, that's where we the government, should step in and also support. And that's what we're doing.
I want parents, guardians, teachers, educators, and the government to please find out ways to put more books, to put books in children's lives. If they realize the importance of reading, they would become used to it. It will be part of their culture, it's part of their habits, and that's a really good thing, and that is what should be happening right now.
And DStv subscribers facing a recent price hike can breathe a sigh of relief, at least temporarily. The Competition and Consumer Protection Tribunal in Abuja has issued a restraining order against MultiChoice Nigeria Limited. This order prevents the company from increasing prices for its DStv and GoTV packages. The decision comes after an Abuja-based lawyer, Festus Onifade, challenged the planned price hike announced by MultiChoice for May 1st, 2024. In a strong move to enforce the order, the tribunal has directed that it be pasted at MultiChoice's headquarters and all known branch locations across Nigeria. Additionally, the order will be sent to the company's email address and social media channels to ensure maximum visibility. The news continues now in West Africa, where on a momentous occasion, Ghana's Ashanti king Otumfuo Seitu II proudly displayed dozens of royal artifacts on Wednesday. These treasures, looted during British colonial rule, have finally returned home after a long-term loan agreement with British museums. The ceremony, titled Homecoming, Adversity and Commemoration, marked the first public exhibition of the recovered artifacts at the Manhia Palace. Among the returned items are 32 gold and silver treasures, including the symbolic Mpomposo, the Asante sword of state. These artifacts were taken during the 19th century Anglo-Ashanti wars by British military forces. King Seitu II described the collection as embodying the soul of the Ashanti people. This historic event highlights cultural cooperation and the return of significant prizes of Ghanaian heritage.
We gather today in the presence of exceptional and beautiful objects that bear witness to the rich heritage and artistic prowess of the Asante people. These treasures once looted by British forces in 1874, have rightfully found their way back to the Mansion Palace Museum through a collaborative effort between our institutions.
The items that came back virtually is the soul of the people of Ashanti.
Yeah.
We are displaying this for you to see that the items that were stolen, looted in 1874, not all of them has returned, but that what we have here still embodies the soul of Ashanti.
Yeah.
And I believe within the period that they are being displayed here, you make an effort, everybody, to come in and visit to see it yourselves.
We at the British Museum are wholly committed to continuing this relationship, building on this loan in a manner based on friendship, trust, mutual respect, and a willingness to discuss.
In Democratic Republic of Congo, they are facing a renewed violence in its eastern region as March 23rd movements, that's the M23 rebels, seized control of the mining town of Rwanda. Fierce clashes erupted on Tuesday, with reports indicating the town fell under rebel control by Tuesday afternoon. Local residents described witnessing M23 fighters entering the town center after heavy fighting. According to a Congolese police official who pleaded anonymity, the capture of Rwanda is significant due to its mines containing valuable minerals like cobalt, a crucial element for electronics. The situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo remains volatile, with this recent development raising concerns about further conflict and the potential disruption of the region's vital mineral resources. In a video released by the Home Office, showed officers entering homes and bringing out people detained in handcuffs before putting them in the back of secure vans. This in Rwanda. This comes following the recent passing of the Safety of Rwanda Act, which declared the Central African nation safe for concerns raised by the Supreme Court last year. The detention comes following the passage of the Safety of Rwanda Act, which declared the Central African Republic nation a safe country for the failed asylum seekers to be sent to. The latest steps in its plans came after a failed asylum seeker voluntarily chose to go to Kigali once their application to stay in the UK failed. In Southern Africa, the Mozambican government has approved new minimum wages for the 8 sectors of activities, excluding the public service, after a consensus reached at the Labour Consultative Commission. The negotiations were between the government, the employers, and the trade unions. The salary increase varies between 200 metike and 1,720 metike. The Deputy Minister of Labour and Social Security, Rolinho Falena, acknowledged the increase. He, however, said these salary increases were not what is desirable, but what is possible. Debates on salary adjustments in the sector of activity started at the beginning of March this year. Now, police tore down a protest encampment at the University of Texas, arresting more than a dozen people as unrest over Israel's war against Hamas in Gaza simmered on U.S. campuses. Officials also detained several people at Fordham University in New York and declared an encampment set up inside a school building. At the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, protesters dug in, blocking an avenue near the center of the campus in Cambridge during the height of Wednesday afternoon's rush hour commute. And dozens of police cars patrolled at the University of California, Los Angeles in response to violent clashes overnight when counter-protesters attacked an encampment of pro-Palestinian students.
Columbia's surreal response to the protesters' non-violent takeover of Hins Hall turned our campus into a war zone. The university called the NYPD to storm campus with militarized police.
For them. Our students remain principled, remain strong, remain tenacious in the face of police violence, in the face of brutalization, and in the face of bad faith negotiating by their university.
I watched as an EMT pleaded to be allowed to treat students, as police laughed and turned off their body cameras, and as press were prevented from bearing witness. Columbia and the cops collaborated to brutalize my classmates in the dark for standing up for what is right.
And now let's bring you some business news from our business desk.
A significant power outage has occurred in various areas of Johannesburg in South Africa due to underground cables catching fire on Tuesday midnight. Emergency services have been working to control the blaze since receiving the call. The M1 South and North Empire Road and the M2 have been temporarily closed while the fire is managed. The fire is believed to have been caused by cable theft. The extent of the damage to the cables will only be known once the fire is extinguished. Affected areas include Bramfontein, Pageview, Parktown, Melville, Amalgam, Vendredop, Johannesburg, and nearby locations. Johannesburg City Power is actively working to manage the situation along with other relevant departments. And to West Africa, the Central Bank of Nigeria has reaffirmed its use of the loan deposit ratio as a tool to control inflation. Dr. Adetona Adedeji, the CBN's acting director of the Banking Supervision Department, explained that the LDR is aimed at directing money flow into the real sector of the economy. While the LDR has been reduced from 65% to 50%, the CBN has also raised the monetary policy rates to reduce excess cash in circulation. Adedeji emphasized the inverse relationship between the LDR and the MPR, including the cash reserve ratio, stating that reducing the LDR helps control inflation. The CBN remains committed to fighting inflation and will prioritize tackling inflation before focusing on economic growth. The LDR is crucial in assessing banks' lending capacity, risk management, and financial stability. Now, Liberia's Director General of the Bureau of State Enterprises, Honorable Arthur Masakwe, received a visit from a World Bank delegation at his office in Monrovia. The discussion centered around establishing a sustainable and robust state-owned enterprise sector to address financial risks and prevent leakages. Masakwe highlighted the challenges and progress made by his administration, emphasizing the need for collaboration with the World Bank and other partners. The document was based on an assessment of 18 out of 46 SOEs conducted by the World Bank in 2023. The World Bank shared copies of the draft policy documents for review, and a working session with stakeholders, including international partners, is planned. And that's it on Business News. More stories will follow in a bit. Don't go away. I am Lekon Obanjo.
And now, before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories from this hour. Nigerian government has begun 15-day emergency fuel supply. And Ghanaian king has hosted events to display returned treasure. We also told you that M23 rebels have captured mining town in DR Congo. Remember to send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on your screen right now. And do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DStv channel 422, StarTimes 274, Avo TV, and of course on YouTube. Many thanks. My name is Mazino Appeal.